Now, I have a love-hate relationship with this chart because on one hand, it is very revealing. It's a very important chart because it shows what the National Housing Supply and Affordability Council thinks is going to happen with rental growth and rental vacancies. Now, just for a bit of background, the National Housing Supply and Affordability Council is a federal government agency. So it's worth, sort of putting a little bit of stock in what they're saying here. And what they're saying is that rents, even as measured by the CPI, are going to remain significantly above the RBA's inflation target band, even the top end of it, all the way out until the middle of 2029. And also that rental vacancy rates are not going to normalize basically this decade. And it's also worth noting that this report doesn't take into account the recent deterioration in rental vacancy rates. So, nor does it take into account the impact of the potential reacceleration in rents that some have mentioned in their recent commentary from property experts. So, it's basically, to me, this is a giant white flag from the government of we've failed and we're going to keep on failing on the issue of rentals and the issue of housing. It should be a national scandal, but it's not.
I don't think I've seen much reporting of this bit of news anywhere, actually, if I think about it, over the last few weeks. And yet, if you understand the question correctly, what's driving it? Well, obviously, a number of people wanting to get into the rental sector is part of it. Well, that means they must have some assumptions about migration, future demand, birth rates, those sorts of things. And they must also have some sort of view as to the supply of rental properties. And that in turn has an implication in terms of the vacancy rates and the nominal rents. So, implicitly, you're right. This is a white flag, and it's a very, very important issue.
One of the things as well that's worth noting about this is this assumes that the federal government's Centre for Population forecasts for migration and population growth more broadly are realised. Now, if you look, past the current financial year and further into the future, they estimate that migration is going to fall to 235,000. I'm yet to find an expert who believes that it's going to fall that far. So this may, unfortunately, and as much as it genuinely pains me to say it, this may be optimistic.
Yeah, well, it all goes back to what assumptions are you plugging in to the model to get the outputs that you're actually producing. And as you say, if they're assuming that long-term migration trend is as per the government's optimistic forecast relative to what's really happening, then it's going to get worse. It'll stay worse. And the data, the more real-time data I'm seeing in my surveys is people are still being confronted with rent rises, I should say, in the order of 10%. And it's happening quite frequently. And the problem for those households is, what do they do? Do they just pay up? Or do they try and find somewhere else and join the queue of 30 to 40 people viewing the rental property around the corner when it's already higher as well? So, people are really being caught by this. And I don't really think there's a serious discussion in the media about the real implications of these sorts of statistics.